Well, hello there, students. How are you? Welcome to the very final module in the spring semester for business communications. I wanted to make you aware that you now have access to the last module of the semester, which is the final exam. Part 1 of the final exam is made up of 50 multiple choice and or true-false questions from chapters 1 through 11 and bonus chapters A and E. The questions for this part of the exam come directly from the chapter quizzes you've taken this semester, so be sure to access those quizzes to use as a study guide and resource for taking this part of the final exam. In case you missed it, in Module 15, I posted a PowerPoint slideshow under 15.2 on how to access the your graded quizzes. Sorry about that. How to access your graded quizzes. And it was step by step with pictures, hopefully easy for you to access. Now, the one thing that I did want to share with you is the fact that if you missed taking any of those quizzes, you actually can still check it out by going to the Business Communications, the McGraw-Hill Online Learning Center at www.mhhe.com/ capital RENTZ, capital M as in Mary, the number 3, lowercase e. You get to this website, this is what you're going to see. And then you'll be able to click on the student edition link. Actually, let me go ahead and show you exactly what you're going to type in here. mhhe.com. Okay, so this is the website that you're going to access. And as you can see under the Online Learning Center box over here, it has 3 different links. You'll want to click the link for Student Edition. Once you click that link, it takes you to this page, and from here you're going to choose a chapter from the drop-down box. You can choose each one of the chapters for the quizzes that you might have missed, and then click over here on the chapter quiz, at which time you'll be able to take this quiz, this practice quiz. You will, once you've completed it, you'll submit your answers. And then once you submitted your answers, you'll see at the bottom of the page a text that says email your results. So email those results to yourself, because the results will show you what the correct answer was if you got it wrong, and also direct you to the page in the textbook for the information. Be sure to print this out and use it as a study guide for the first part of the final exam. And I'm going to reiterate the fact that I did not change anything at all. Those quizzes that you see have exactly the same multiple choice questions as you had on your chapter quizzes throughout the semester. Okay, so moving forward, hopefully you accessed all of this information because it was going to be very helpful for you in planning your final exam. Also, don't forget to complete this at the end of session reflections if you haven't already. 20 points can help bring your grade up. If you're having a little bit of difficulty, don't forget to reply to at least 2 of your classmates. So now you have access to the final exam. So part 1 of the final exam includes 50 multiple choice questions, again directly from the quizzes, chapters 1 through 11 and bonus chapters A and E. Each question is worth 2 points for a total of 100 points available for this part of the final exam. There is a time limit for this part of the final exam of 90 minutes, so be sure to be prepared before starting the exam. Be sure to complete it in one sitting and be sure to save your answers to ensure that you get credit for each of the questions. Use those previous quizzes as a study guide, and I promise you, you'll do fine. Part 2 of the final exam, there is no time limit, because what you need to do is you're going to come down here and you're going to click on the link here to open up the PDF with the specific instructions for part 2 of the final exam. You'll do it separately. You can see that there are several different components to this part of the final exam. The first part is creating a resume. Okay, you're going to create your resume. You'll see in the instructions, you'll create your resume as if you're applying for that same job that you did your cover letter for from the list of job ads in chapters, the chapter 711 persuasive cover message. Okay, so make sure you use the same job ad. And then the next component of part 2 is a reference sheet. I want you to please be sure to duplicate the example that is on page 318 of the textbook, Exhibit 11-4. That's the format I want to see. And be sure to use the exact same format, text style, and font for your contact information on both the resume and the reference sheet. That shows professionalism and consistency. Finally, the last 3 components involve planning and rewriting 3 ineffective messages. 1 good news message from chapter 5, 1 bad news from chapter 6, and 1 persuasive from chapter 7. These will be familiar exercises for you, okay? Again, use the assignments that you submitted and got graded on with all my feedback. I also have already prepared the planning worksheet for you back in Module 15. Hopefully you've accessed it and printed it out. The Planning Your Communication Strategy, a Problem-Solving Approach, and it's related directly to these 3 messages that you have to rewrite. Excuse me. However, it's up to you to perform the audience analysis part of the planning phase and then to rewrite the messages appropriately to meet the message plan requirements. For a good news message, how does the opening start? Bad news message, how does the opening start? And so on and so forth. Another thing that you can do to help guide you along here is to click here on the link for the grading rubric. Use the grading rubric as a guide, as a checklist. You'll use the grading rubric as a checklist to make sure that you earn all of the proficient level points for each of the items as part of this final exam. Read the information in here, okay? It's going to tell you exactly what I'm going to be looking for as I grade each part of your final exam, including the resume, the reference sheet, and the 3 documents for analysis. So let's take a quick look at the documents for analysis. What this means is exactly what you did in your assignments in the beginning of the semester. And that means that you are going to first take a look at this ineffective message. And then you're going to list at least 5 weaknesses. Okay? Remember to list them, what they are, based on, first of all, the grading rubric for this particular writing assignment. Also point out any issues with the writing style from chapter 4 and also bonus chapter B. But most importantly, I want to make sure that you're addressing the weaknesses based on the grading rubric for each of the different types of messages. So this is a good news message from chapter 5, a message granting a claim. Go back and remind yourself, how is the opening supposed to start? What is supposed to be included in the body? How do I close the message and perform some goodwill here? So in the good news message, the opening paragraph should clearly state the good news. It should reference any correspondence to let the reader know that you're responding to their correspondence, but open with the good news, what's happening. Then just stick to the facts, you guys. Remember, don't embellish, just stick to the facts and you'll be fine. Okay, the same thing goes with the bad news message. Here's the bad news message. Same kind of thing. It's an adjustment refusal. You've done something similar to this, okay? Remember, in bad news messages, we're using the indirect format, which means you do not open in the beginning paragraph by saying, thank you for playing, we're not going to do this for you, okay? You do not do that. You reference any of information and facts from the correspondence to which you are replying. You don't. Then you give the reasons, and then you give the refusal. Make sure to offer some sort of a compromise or an alternate solution to build that goodwill. And then finally, we have a persuasive message. Always remember, in your opening for a persuasive message, your main job is to gain the attention of the reader in that first paragraph. There are 3 different ways to gain attention. Check it out. Look at your textbook. Look at all of the PowerPoints. Gain my attention. And then, again, don't put the request too soon in the message. Go into the body paragraphs and start giving some explanations. Sell it. Okay? Why should this person do this? Why should this person join SCORE? What benefit is it going to give to them as well as to the people that you're trying to help? And of course, don't forget the closing goodwill messages. Keep the tone positive. Do not use negative words. Be very careful. Make sure you break it up into 3 separate paragraphs. Finally, you'll see that these ineffective messages only have the salutation and the signature. Remember, the first thing you have to do is to determine whether this is an internal or an external message. If it's an internal message, you will use a memo or email format. If it's an external message, you will use the formal letter format. Make sure you include all of the letter parts, including the return address or letterhead for the company. Then the date, the inside address, make one up if there isn't one available for you. Then the greeting, then you have your message, and then the closing information, the signature block area, okay? Bonus chapter A, take a look at that, look at the format, make sure that you meet all of those things, and you will do absolutely fine on this final exam. Finally, I would like to highly recommend that you use the early access to this final exam now. Use the time wisely to complete it, even though it's not due until Monday, June 3rd. I want to thank you for being a part of my class this semester and congratulate you guys for being the first ever fully online business communications class at Grossmont College. I wish you all the best in your academic, professional, and personal future endeavors. Stay in touch. Remember to feel free to use me as a reference for transfer to the upper division, to the universities, or for even for jobs. And for now, I'm off to help finish finalizing the wedding plans with my daughter. Ciao for now.